Katie, and we woke up feral. On this podcast, we have our shit together.
Until we don't. So come get feral with us.
Let's tear into it. Last time you said you were new to that, and that I
still am.
And I have 4 years, and then you were like, oh,
yeah,
that's not much to look forward to.
I'm liking it though.
That's good news.
Like I think it's, I don't know. I get excited to go, and then I feel better afterwards. So that's got to mean something, right?
Well, yeah, talking things out is important. Are you seeing a man or a woman?
A man.
Oh, I've never actually seen a man therapist.
So, I have a friend that, or was it you? No, someone else I know. Oh, yes. So I have another friend that goes to therapy. She's been going for a while, and she sees a woman, and she was saying like she really loves her.
Mm-hmm.
So this whole time, when I scheduled, there was 2 therapists, and one didn't have an appointment for a while. I don't actually know if he was a man or a woman. So this guy was available, and I'm like, yeah, I'll just take him. I'll try it. And I'm always one of those people, I'm very outspoken and blunt, but in certain situations, like I'm not confrontational.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm one of those people, if I don't like a doctor, I'll probably just keep seeing that doctor because I don't want to ever say like, I don't like you, or tell the nurses or something that I don't like you.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So isn't that weird?
Yeah, because those are like actually important.
Yeah, but I
like
I
your
just
own
won't,
advocate.
You
just be like, I guess I'll keep seeing them.
Yeah, because like I just feel awkward saying that I don't like that person, because there's sometimes not a reason why.
Right.
So I was like really nervous to go, and then it being a guy, I was like, I don't know how I'm gonna feel talking to like a guy about my feelings.
Yeah.
Or like if I would feel understood, or if he was gonna be receptive.
Mm-hmm.
And I went, and I don't know, I really like I'm so happy because I actually really like him, so I don't have that awkward, what do I do if I don't like him?
Mm-hmm.
Like, what do I say? How do I fix that? How do you just request a new,
right?
How does that happen?
Yeah.
But he's been really amazing. Like,
is he older?
No, he's probably in his maybe 40s.
Mm-hmm.
Or yeah, maybe like older than me, but not old.
Yeah.
Like not gray.
Right.
Wrinkly. Yeah.
I feel like I would want, like, if I was to see a man, I would want him to be like old and wise, like.
I don't know. He's very smart.
Like the Harry Potter guy. Like Dumbledore.
Yeah. No. I'd be like, do you know what is up with the times? This is in the 1970s. I can't just turn my phone off anymore. No.
So Dumbledore, I know that threw us off, but
yeah. Well,
I do call my therapist
really
the Grand High Witch. Have you ever seen the movie The Witches? I know this isn't my podcast, The Dry Cauldron, but The Witches is like an old movie from the 80s, and my therapist reminds me of, she just like floats. She's magical. She's not witchy at all, but she just has this like
a good aura.
Yes.
I just call my therapist Mark.
Okay. Mine's Trish.
Oh.
Yeah. Wow, revealing secrets. Mark and Trish.
Mark Dufresne. I do wonder if he's related to what's his name off Shawshank Redemption. Oh, Peter Dufresne.
Mine's name's Trish Spears, and sometimes I wonder if
should we not say their full names?
Related to Britney.
At first I said it was Britney. I heard Spears. Jesus, yeah. He's totally
so stupid.
take
this
a
is
lot
just,
of like holistic vitamins
Right.
that I think we'll talk about later too.
Let's go ahead.
It's okay.
We're just gonna go with it.
That'll be we'll talk about all of the holistic things that I'm into another
I'm interested
day.
in that because I like to think that I'm into holistic things, but really I
don't like
taking-
burn sage and stuff, but I'm big into vitamins and like different powders and things
Like
that like help
cocaine.
you. How do you know?
different powders.
This is how I'm losing weight. I don't look like
I'm losing weight. This energy is
I
not
was
real.
like, it's impeccable right now. I'm just kidding.
We're obviously kidding, but for real
Yes.
though, I am interested in all of that. I take vitamins and everything, but I feel like I actually wanted to start seeing someone that's like what they do and they cater the vitamins to.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
your
So
health.
you can actually like take blood tests and stuff too to see like what your body needs. Which I haven't gone that far. I have done blood and saliva tests at the gym. We have a nutritionist there.
That's nice.
So they kind of told me some stuff. I did it while I was still currently on birth control, so I think it really swayed
Yeah,
my results.
I
So
bet that will change.
I'm almost at like 6 months off now, so I need to do it again and
That's
see
kind of
what
a
the
big
difference
deal.
changes. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's my body. I started. Well, I mean, we can talk holistic the reasons why, but like I did more holistic vitamins because my body just doesn't tolerate medicines very well. Like I can't take pain meds. It makes me very nauseous. I have a lot of nausea symptoms, like motion sickness and stuff that's developed as I got older.
Yeah.
So I think for me was trying to find a way to like, what can I take that's not script meds, like I get migraines, but prescription meds make me sick.
Right.
So it was like just grasping at straws to like feel normal.
And find things that will work without making you feel sick.
Yeah, because like, I feel like a lot of them, I mean, and I'm not putting down like medications because people genuinely do need it, and I'm sure one day I'm going to need to be on something. But for me, I think it was just the side effects were worse than what I was actually taking it for.
I figured too, whenever I got on, because I was on a lot of medications. I was on like antidepressants and anxiety, and everything was just like, I was just so anxious all the time. But I realized, honestly, I was just over drinking, and that the anxiety like was from the
And
next
drinking's
day.
a downer, so
Yeah.
it's a depressant.
And
makes
then
you depressed too.
It also does that, and it depletes your vitamins. So I had like
Dehydrates you.
0 vitamins. I had like no vitamin K. I had like iron deficiency, B12, all of that, and I had no idea. But the reason I was feeling like that was because it was like I had nothing left the next day. And so whenever I obviously stopped drinking, I immediately started feeling better, and then I felt like the clarity, and then I was like, oh, I'm not even anxious. That was just literally from the after effects of like alcohol.
Your body is like an anxious mode.
Yeah, so I always like think that people should, even if you don't have like a drinking problem, like take a step back for a little bit and just like recalibrate and see, or even if you're on pain meds and stuff too, like getting off of pain meds, obviously talking to your doctor first. But a lot of times the pain meds stay on those pain receptors, and you don't even realize that you're really not even in pain like you are anymore. But anyways, speaking of medicated, I just was wondering, because we're like two pretty happy people.
Like I have my days where I'm more mild, but definitely like I'm definitely not depressed. I am a more happier person. But I chose, which I guess I was still the same. I didn't choose therapy because I was unhappy or depressed. I wanted to go to therapy because I felt like I was to the point, actually, which is kind of the opposite, where I, like, between work and I guess just home, I don't know, I became so numb. Like I don't feel things the way I used to. Like tragedies will happen, and I've gotten so used to burying it that I just was like, I mean, like for example, like I do medical, so a lot of the dogs, like if we lose a dog, I deal with it on a daily basis. So I was finding it hard to feel those feelings.
Right.
And I didn't realize it until last year. Me and Kanani lost 4 of our personal dogs last year.
Right, yeah.
And it was a really hard year, but I felt like, and I mean, people kept saying, oh, you're taking it so well. I felt like I didn't feel my dog, like I just felt like I didn't feel any of it. Like I just went through the motions because I know those motions because I do it for work.
Right.
And I was like, I don't know, I guess I was just sitting there one day and I'm like, you have made yourself so numb to this one particular thing, you know, let's not, like, I guess not everything, but I think it was evolving into everything, that I can't even feel emotions when I lose my own dogs, like my soul dog.
Right.
I just felt like, I was sad and I was crushed, but like I just kept moving so quickly and just didn't allow myself, and I still haven't. I think one day it'll just come back and I'll just be like crushed again. But I don't know, I think that was like a rude awakening, if that makes sense. Like, I just have no feelings.
Right.
Like, that's not okay. That's not healthy.
Right. Because typically
but I don't
you
know
would lose
why.
your soul dog and you would be...
And don't get me wrong, I was crushed,
I remember,
but I just felt like I
You probably felt a sense, and I feel this way often, you know, where it's like, you obviously feel the sadness, but you're not allowed to pause. You're not allowed, and this is actually like part of the grief thing that I'm learning, but you're not allowed to like take that moment because you gotta move on. People depend on you, your job depends on you, the people who work for you depend on you, your kids depend on you, your
you
partner.
just don't have time.
You
to
don't
sit
have
there
time
and wallow in it.
Some people do, you know, and so it's like there's a balance in that. I
Well,
feel like.
and I think I've taught myself to, which I think a lot of us have. You teach yourself to be so strong. So when it comes to be vulnerable and sit there and be weak, it's like take your Bennett and get the hell up and keep going. And so I just didn't allow and I still haven't. Like I'm like I think about it every day, but like why am I not crying? Why am I not feeling this like gut wrenching feeling?
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I'm like, in my head, like, there's something wrong with me.
And then you're like, oh, look, something else happened. Now I'm like all itching my nose because we were laughing.
See who really's the one.
Who's really doing it? But you feel like if you take that time though to have that moment, and you feel guilt.
Yeah, I feel guilt. I feel weak. I feel like things are gonna fall like out of place, and it's like a domino effect. I let one thing slide, and then you just lose control. And one thing I figured out in therapy is my temperaments. There's 4 temperaments, and so you're always predominantly one, and then there's like a second. So you have all of them, but there's 2 that you are more of. And of course, my 2 temperaments are like controlling, type A, like get everything done. You need to like, don't worry, I'll just do it because it's gonna be done right. Like that, and I was like, oh my god.
Did you
like
take a test for that, or?
Yes.
Yeah,
so
I
very schedule oriented, like very on time. Which when I'm not on time, I get anxious.
Yeah,
so I'm like, oh my god. So I'm not crazy. This is just how. And then this is just how I am.
Yeah.
This is just my.
And I feel like if I'm not like this, then and nobody else is, you know, because I mean, Perry's pretty good, but he's not like a scheduled. But
neither is Kanani.
Yeah, he's like go with the flow.
Yes, and it's so aggravating.
Yeah, and I'm like, we can't go with the flow as a family, you know, especially with a child. And so it's like, well, if you're not going to do it, then I have to do it. So someone has to do it, and it's going to be me.
No, and that's literally like that's part of what I've been talking to my therapist about. Like he's like, well, it's okay, you can be that way, but you also have to learn to like communicate it in a different way. Like use your strengths, and like if you're not good at something, because Kanani's complete opposite of me. Like I did his temper test for him.
Yes.
I mean, not really, but like after doing them and reading all their,
assess.
I can like say what I think his is, and I'm like, we're polar opposites. But one thing I had to learn was let him do what he's good at, and then it's okay to let go and let him do those things because he's better at them, and it's okay for me to do these things because I'm better.
And to not have expectations, you know, like expectations. Yes. I mean, obviously you're gonna have some, but they lead to disappointment. So like, no one is going to. I was actually talking to Jen about this yesterday. Like, you can't expect people to work as hard as you work. You know, not everybody
talk about that every
is
day.
going to be at the same level as you. Like, my work ethic is one of my strengths. You know what I mean? Yours is.
That's also part of my personality.
Yes, and so then you expect people.
Yeah,
because if I can do
and
it,
then you
can do
it.
For disappointment. Yeah, and it's like, well, that's not how it is. Not everybody has
but
it.
It's
they have
so
their own
hard
strengths.
to like accept that though, because you want to get what you give out.
Yes.
So that's one of those things. It's like you have to. I don't know. Obviously, I'm still learning because this is all new. But it's also like with back to the emotions and like not feeling things and just keep moving because you're so scheduled. That's also one of those like survival tactics.
Yeah.
It's like you're in constant survival mode, and this is something that sounds like, I was like, I've been this way since I could remember though. And he's like, well, there's trauma response. It's like, why did you start doing this? It sounds like, you know, we've talked about childhood. It sounds like you were, you know, by yourself a lot when you were a kid, and like parents were there but not actually present, so you just felt like you had to do everything by yourself, and you have to do it, and you have to keep moving, and you don't have time to be sad. And I was like, it all just makes so much sense, like when he talks and like explains these things. And then I think my biggest realization was, I'm not crazy. So I'm not actually crazy, and a lot of these feelings are because I care too much.
And you were thinking, oh, am I like a bitch?
Like, but then
it's
like sometimes I push so hard because I care too much, and I like see things from different perspectives than other people. So I'm trying to prevent too. I'm always trying. I'm like, seeing 15 well, that's
steps ahead.
One of the things that like we talk about is within like my marriage. I'm constantly like telling Kanani, you have to be home for a certain time. Like you have to go to the soccer games. Like you have to be present with the kids. And he always thought it was nagging, and I was like, God, maybe I am just nagging him. And you know, my therapist is like, no, it sounds like you don't want your kids to resent him, and you care so much about him getting to see his kids grow up. You're communicating it wrong, but your heart is in the right place, and it sounds like you just genuinely, truly care about what your kids think of your husband. And I was like, that's exactly
what it is.
That's exactly it. And I'm trying to say it, and like it's so hard. Not that he's not present for things, but you know what I mean. Like you miss one soccer game, and I like make him feel bad. But it's not to make him feel bad. It's to like, we're never gonna get that again. You're
and that might be something that you experienced as a child.
And absolutely it was. And so it was like, okay, so I'm not doing this because I'm mean or I want to make him feel. I'm doing this because I genuinely really do care, and I want him to see that. And this goes with work and everything. So it was like, I don't know. I guess it was just every day I'm like realizing that maybe I am actually a really good person. And I just care too much, and I do have to reel that in. But then some situations, me not caring or feeling numb is because I'm just burying it so that I can keep going. Because if I
and that's the first part of it is awareness. You know what I mean? Like I always said, and like when I was a leader at the hospital, my door even said like having awareness is the key to change. Like you can't change unless you're aware. And people will say things, you know, and be like, oh, well, I have things I need to tell you too that you should change. And then I'm like, well, what is it? And then they don't tell you, and you're like, well,
I want to know.
Well, how can I change if you don't tell me? You know, and so I always try to also like give people the opportunity, and say like, you know, put it out on the table and say, well, this is your chance, you know, like,
well, and be able to accept like the criticism and not when someone says something like you go straight to attack.
And I like resolution, and this is part of my childhood. Now I think that my control comes from marrying my ex-husband who was a drug addict, and it was like, well, somebody's gonna have to work, somebody's gonna have to take care of the bills. I'm not actually gonna get to be like a girlfriend or a wife. I'm gonna have to be a mom, you know. And when I met Perry, I didn't have to be a mom, and it felt so nice to be like, oh, this is what being a grown woman feels like in a relationship as a partner.
There's a partner,
but that's built into you just like it is as a child.
It's hard to let go.
It is, and it's like, well, I need to take care of somebody, I need to fix this or fix this person or fix this situation. But I'm like addicted to resolution too, almost to a fault. So it's like, if I find that there's, you know, something could be better, or even like process improvement, it's like everything I want it to be, I find what can be better, quicker, you know, like it's just, you become obsessed with it. But that's all because of either the way you're raised,
that's what he
structure.
Said. One of the things too that I like that he does, which I don't know if your therapist does this, but it actually makes like I'll say something going on, and he'll say things to like lead me into answering my own questions. And actually I went last week, I go again this week, and last week he basically told me because like he would kind of lead it and I would just answer, and he's like, well, why do you think that? And I was like, well, I think this and this. And he's like, you're actually so aware of what you do. And he's like, you say like what you did wrong. He's like, I'm not saying what you're doing wrong or what you did in that situation. He's like, you did. You knew exactly what you said that was hurtful. And I was like, no, I know what I'm doing, I just don't know how to fix it. And he's like, but that's a really good step that you're so you know what you're doing and you want to fix it versus trying to deny that you don't know what's wrong with what you're doing.
And that's what is honestly going
Which
on with most of the world.
Yeah, but that was pretty amazing to like for him to say.
You're already
and I was like, I do try to admit when I'm wrong, but I don't. And I understand I may make 5 mistakes, but I know I'm making them. My problem is I need help to figure out how to not make them again, and what can I do better.
Right.
I just don't know the right. You know what I mean? In different situations,
what I was
how
telling
do I do
you
the
other
thing?
day, which was a book that my therapist actually suggested, was Stillness Speaks, and it really is about like the first part is the awareness, and then having that moment where you're like, instead of reacting, using the tools first, because you don't have to.
Whereas
react.
I react immediately and then regret.
Right, exactly, and that's part of being running the rescue, and dealing with the dogs, medical. Like you have to have quick responses, but in your everyday life,
you have to learn when to use that.
Yeah.
What did I tell you? He said there's so much power in being calm.
Yes.
Especially when someone else So that was another thing like that's good in like marriages. You try to communicate something and say I say something to Kanani like, I'm upset that you didn't come home early or come home on time from work. And he immediately gets defensive because this has like been something that, say, not saying that it is, but saying that's something that we argue about or we've argued. And instead of me trying to explain my feelings and then he reacts, instead of me going back and then it being like a pissing match almost, just being calm. Like, I'm sorry that you took it that way. That's not how I meant it.
Right.
This is what I was trying to say. Or just being calm and and I was like, that's something I have gotten better at, specifically in our marriage, just because once you're with someone for 13 years, usually he's like, well, so how have you gotten better? What do you do? And I was like, oh, I just don't say anything.
Yeah.
And he's like, so you're going from one extreme to the other. He's like, not saying anything is just as bad. Being silent,
if not worse,
is just as bad than going out. He's like, just be calm in the moment, but then circle back and talk about it once you're calm. And I was like, oh yeah, I mean, I can be calm. I just don't say. He's like, yeah, but. He's like, let me guess, you don't say anything and you're walking around the kitchen cutting up your things. So I'm like, how do you know?
Your body
camera in my house?
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, he can still feel your tension even though you think that you're being calm.
Right. Yeah. One thing that my old boss, who was a mentor to me, beautiful woman named Anita, her name was Anita. She was amazing. She taught me, she actually passed away, she had breast cancer. She taught me it's all in the presentation. And I was young and I wasn't a leader at the time. I was only like 20 years old and I was just, super young, but I just really looked up to her. She was like a mom to me. And I was like, just watched her become this, well, she was already like an amazing leader, but she would say like, you can really get anybody to do anything you need them to do as long as you present it well. You know what I mean? Like, you could tell someone like, go fuck off, but if you say it well, then it works. And that's one of the things that I've taught, like people that were, that I led, like it's all about the presentation. And my friends will still tell me that they use that in their everyday life still. My friend Kristen's always like, I said that today and I remembered, like, Katie, like it's all in the presentation. But it's so true. Like, it's not about.
Wait, she told someone to go fuck off?
Yeah, she did actually.
It was a good presentation.
It was she's so funny. She worked with me for a long time, and she was a reactor, and
it's hard to retain yourself.
And she like worked in the front window, and she would just react to people, and I'm like, you can't talk to parents like that. You know what I mean? Like you have to, like yes, they made a mistake, but you have to say it like this.
Yeah.
So I think that I've practiced that my entire life now, and in relationships that have been going on for a really long time, it's hard to make those changes. And I feel like I've been blessed with being able to start over with Perry. So it's like everything that I learned that I wanted to ever have, I'm able to do that from scratch. But to do it when you've been with someone for so long.
That, but I also think too, after you've been with someone so long, it's the constant day to day of like being with someone for so many years. I mean, I'm sure anyone in like a marriage, or this is also why like families fight, because you're around each other all the time. They always say like you hurt the one that you love the most. And I think that's because they're the ones there in the thick of it. And when you have to react because you have to get something out,
Right.
whatever emotion it is, it's usually pointed towards that person,
Right.
whether they have anything to do with
And
that
it's a
situation.
pattern, you know, that's just like, it's a pathway, my therapist would say, like there's pathways, and you know, it's like this plus this equals this. So when someone does this, this is how you react, and that's the outcome, and that's just how it's always been. So to change the way that you're speaking now going forward, it's not,
It's really
I'm going to
hard.
react or I'm not going to say anything at all. That balance in between is so difficult.
That's what I'm trying to,
Yeah.
that's like my goal
And that's
right
the
now.
rewiring, you know,
Yeah.
of the pathway. It's like, you see, this is what 𝐶𝐞𝐞𝐞 said, or this is what the kids did, this is what I normally do, and you in that moment have to say, okay, and it has to be fast enough to be like, okay, I'm not going to do that right. I'm
One
gonna
of my homework assignments was like, for until you come back next week, anytime something happens and you feel the need to react, don't, but write it down. I want to see what your reaction was.
And how crazy is that to, like, that's the, like, our brains are muscles, so like, you have to work it out.
But
and
it's
that's the
weird
workout.
because at work, like, I can definitely, my reactions are completely different. It's just in different relationships, it's harder to change. So like, I think I give employees and like work things a lot of grace more than what I used to when I first took over. And I guess I do that with Kanani too, but I think it's so much harder in like your romantic relationship when you're constantly, and like just that constantly like feeling disappointed, or like maybe you get to the point where you're resentful about something in particular, so it's so hard not to react when said thing happens, you know, it happens.
Yeah.
So that's like the balance that I'm trying to find with either certain people or Kanani, or like certain
The cool part
situations that are
is-
like a trigger, and I have to just let it go.
It's gonna be so cool, and you've already done it and experienced it, but you know, I had a lot of practice in this after my divorce and then being in a new relationship, but to watch like, oh, if I don't react the way that I used to, what is the outcome? So like, to see the outcome be different. So this is what Kanani or the kids usually do, this is how you usually react, but you don't react like that, so then the outcome, and everybody's gonna be like, wow,
No, that's
that
exactly-
feels so much better.
Well, it was like, I did one of those, like, don't react, or my therapist was like, when this happens, I want you to do this. This is how I want you to react. And I did it, and I remember Connie was like,
are you okay?
are you okay?
Right.
And I was like, yeah, I'm fine. I just missed you. Like, just completely opposite of what I usually would do.
Yeah.
And he was like, I don't understand.
Yeah.
This is weird.
But you're changing the
Like,
pathway.
are you okay?
Yeah. I mean, you're rewiring
And he was like waiting
it.
for the other shoe to fall,
Yes.
because he was like, this is not normal.
Yeah.
And then everything was fine, but it was just like, I don't know. I was like, I'm gonna have to do it a few more times for him to like truly accept it and not think like, what the fuck is going on?
Right. But that's okay. Yeah.
No, I know. I was like,
Because
that's the step,
yes,
you know?
yeah,
And the therapist was like, he's probably going to react that way.
Yeah.
So that's normal.
Right.
But you have to create the better pattern than the old pattern.
Yeah,
and
that's so
it has to start.
refreshing. Yeah, to know that at some point, like when you do this, this is the reaction, and then the outcome is different, and then you move on. Because now there's not this tit for tat. You're
Exactly.
going, and I'm saying,
And that's usually, which I think that happens in every relationship.
Right. It's the bickering, the dunking back, and now it's my turn, and your turn, and your fault, and then you start bringing out old
Well,
stuff.
and that's usually, but it's like, it's funny because it doesn't, me and Kanani have a very, very good marriage, very good relationship. But even in the best marriages, there's always like one or two things that are like the things.
Yeah.
And there's literally maybe two things that we fight about, because we don't fight that often.
Right.
But these two things, we can go, like, we can go.
Yeah.
We're both Tauruses.
Right. Oh my gosh.
Both,
Yeah.
like, we both are hard heads. Like,
Yeah.
I'm not accepting yours. He wants to have the last word. I want to have the last word. I'm right. No, I'm right. Like, and so it's just like two things. But I'm like, maybe, I mean, obviously, even the person that's like been to therapy, you can still have times where you can't react. Like, you have to react, or you just can't help yourself. But I think it's gotten better. I'm like learning so much. I also love, I don't know if your therapist does this, but like every now and then to try and like make me understand what he's talking about in like an example. He'll use like an example from either his marriage or his life with his kids, and it's like so refreshing because he doesn't dominate the conversation,
Right.
but it makes him feel more real because he does bring some of his personal stuff in it, like very short, very keeps it professional. But I'm like, okay, you know,
normal.
It's normal. A damn therapist told me that he has trouble reacting to, you know what I mean? And I'm like, okay,
well, and
I'm not crazy. We're
My
human.
therapist always says, like, because, you know, with some of the difficult situations that I've been in, it's like I have these tools now, and I have the opportunity to start over. So when things don't go, when this happens, and then I react like this, and the outcome is not what I expected, then I start to be like, what did I do wrong? You know, and I have these expectations, and then I beat myself up because we have these tools. And she always says, like, Katie, you're never going to be Mother Teresa. Like, you're never going to be Gandhi. Like, you are enlightened, but you're not of, like, higher being, okay?
No,
like, you're human, and that's...
Well, and you can't control how the other person's going to react either. So that was one of the things I was joking about. We were talking about, like, being on time, and, you know, we were talking about what makes me anxious, and certain times I get in. I was like, well, I know when I'm not on time, like, I get anxious. So if I'm waiting on someone, and we were supposed to leave 10 minutes ago, like, I'm get a pit in my stomach, like I get anxious, and I've always been like 5 minutes early is on time. Like that is how I stay on track.
Like 15, 20 if I can.
No, literally I'm like 20 minutes early to everything. But Kanani is not. He is complete opposite. He's like, oh, we'll get there when we get there. Like it's fine. And it drives me up a wall. Like I can get me and the kids and everybody ready, and then we're still waiting on him, and it's so frustrating. But that's just who he is, you know, and that's just that he's not doing anything wrong. I'm not doing anything wrong. I just like and usually I give ourselves so much cushion that it really doesn't matter, but it does matter in my mind, and I go into like this whole anxiety, like downpour. But he was like, well, you know, try that, and I was like, I made the comment. I was like, I think I'm just gonna bring my husband in here one day so that you could just meet him. You're not understanding.
The energy.
Like I was like, I don't think you understand, like, how he is. And he's like, well, your husband's not here, so we're not going to talk about him. And I'm like, oh. I'm like, okay, but I actually loved that he didn't let me go on a spiral about it. And then he was like,
it's not about him.
Yeah,
really.
No, it's
You're
not.
In there for
no, and I'm not
counseling.
talking shit about my husband. It was just like, no, I really don't think you understand like how go with the flow he is, and it drives me insane. And he's like, well, all you can control is your reaction. And he's like, he was like, I would love for like your husband to come and like us do like a couples thing. He's like, but and I was like, well, my husband doesn't believe in therapy. And he started laughing. And I was like, but then again, I didn't either, and here I am. So this is going great. And he's like, no, that's fine. He goes, if you just focus on yourself and your reactions and changing your side of things, he goes, your husband will follow suit, and it'll fall in line because one person's reactions and changes can literally shape the way of every outcome. He's like, give it time, and just you working on yourself will make a big dent, and you'll see changes.
It's so
because it was fresh. I was like, okay, I'm working on myself.
And that's one thing.
He's not like, how do I this? Okay, I can do all the work I can, but if he's not receptive to it, where are we gonna go from here?
But it will change. There's actually like a movie, and it was like a Christian movie, but it was called The Love Dare, and it was like a 40-day thing where the one person just like did these things for themselves, but also for the person, but they didn't tell the person what they were doing. And so within like 40 days, their marriage had completely changed because they like put their energy into something else, you know, instead of like fighting or whatever. They were actually like rewarding, and they were loving, and then they were doing things on themselves.
How that works.
People ask Perry and I like how, because we like both work remote, we do everything together, you know, everything, we literally do everything together, and like, how do you guys not fight? Like, how do you stand being around each other? And it's because like we work on ourselves first, and we always say that, like, I'm not in this relationship for like him, I'm in it for us, you know what I mean? Like, he doesn't make me whole, and I like fill myself up.
Yes,
he
you
fills
fill your own
himself
cup up, and then you
it's so true. Like, if you're in a relationship where that person like depends on you, and you depend on them.
But also, you guys are both healthy, both love yourselves. You're in that probably the healthiest point either one of you have ever been in your lives. So you are so healthy, and just there's so much self-love that you're able to love each other correctly. And that's one thing. It's crazy because Kanani and I used to be the same way, because we both worked in this, like, we both worked together actually before Leilani, before like I took over all the medical and stuff. when I first started here, Kanani and I were together like every day. We cleaned kennels together. We worked at the same locations. We were never apart, and we never fought. It's so weird because it's like when you're around your spouse so much, that's why you guys fight. Kanani and I didn't really start having tiffs until we weren't spending as much time together. And it usually would have been the opposite for most marriages, but us, the more we're together, the more in sync we are.
Yeah, same.
Like, he used to joke that I was the third twin because I always, like, I would say what he was saying. Like, we were so in sync. So when work took different turns and, like, now the kids have to be split up sometimes for sports and stuff, the more time we're away from each other, the harder it is to connect when we're back together versus when we're together all the time, we're just like this.
Yeah, that is so
isn't that
true.
crazy?
Yeah, it is, because it is typically the opposite.
Right? But for me and him, we are
get
really
along better together.
Yes.
Yeah, we do
It's
too,
crazy.
and we just make such a good team. And that would be one of the bits of advice I would give people, you know, who are in a relationship or in therapy, is that, like, it really is about yourself. And like a lot of people go straight into couples
100%.
counseling before they've done any work on themselves. And I had done that in my past, in my marriage, and
but it
I
doesn't
felt like
work on you. It just works on this one unit.
and it's like, but I needed so much work, and he needed so much work, so together we like sucked, you know. It just didn't work out because you're not like putting the work into yourself. So like, if you focus on yourself first,
and it's
your
hard
therapist
to
is
admit. No, it is. It's hard to admit. Oh, I need help. Like, I need to fix this about myself. But I think that was like the longest thing. I used to make a joke. I was like, well, I'm not going to see a therapist because he's going to tell me I'm the problem.
Right.
Maybe I am though, and maybe it's not as bad as I thought, and maybe I can fix it. And like, now that I'm going, like, I cry almost every session, which is fine because I feel like I don't cry that much. I hold it in.
Yeah.
And then like the first time I walked into therapy, he like brings me in the room, he sits me on the couch. He's like, hey Mariah, you know, I'm Mark, how you doing? I was like, hey, how are you doing? And then I don't even remember like what he said. Probably like, oh, you know, how, like, what are you trying to accomplish? And I like just looking at him, and I couldn't even hear. I just started crying. And I'm like,
this is what I'm supposed
look,
to do,
and
right?
then
When do I lay down?
Yeah, I'm like sitting there, and I just start crying, and he's like looking at me, and he's just like, and I was like, I really don't know why I'm crying right now. And he's like, no, that's okay. He's like, that's what you can do. And I was like, wow. I was like, you really got your work cut out for you. And he started laughing and handed me the tissues, and he's like, I think we're gonna be just fine.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
And we're done for
I
today.
didn't even say anything. I just said, hi, I'm Mariah. And then he starts talking, and he's just looking at me, and I'm staring at him, and I just literally start bawling.
Yeah. Well, it's the realization too of, you're like, how did I get here?
Yeah, like, why am I crying?
Yeah. Like,
It's like if you're upset and someone goes, what's wrong? And you were just,
You
you
were
were holding
fine.
it together fine until they wanted to talk, and then you just, that's literally what I felt like.
Well, that is, it's survival. It's a technique, you know. And so when you're like told that when you walk into this room and you sit on this couch, you're allowed
and
to
then
let your guard down.
One of my things I told him, I was like, I don't cry that much, and I've literally cried every session. I'm like, you're gonna think I'm a liar. I really don't cry that much.
You're like, I don't outside of here, but
I'm like, I guess I just cry for you.
Thanks a lot, Mark. You really get me going.
But he's great. Like it's been, I don't know, it's been amazing.
Yeah.
Like, I'm really excited to see.
Oh, every time you
like,
go,
changes,
and it feels like it's not long enough. You're like, we just got started, you know? Like,
no, I
hour
feel like
is
it's an
over?
no. It's like, okay, well, we're gonna wrap it up today, and I'm like, oh damn.
You're like, I'm really sad.
Or like last time I went the entire time, my phone kept buzzing because I put it on vibrate, and it's just buzzing the whole hour.
Yeah.
And we look at each other, and I kind of look at my phone, and he looks, and he goes, or my purse, and he's like, wow, you're popping it. I'm like, always.
Yeah.
But that's work. And we had just had a conversation. He said, he got on this little dry erase board, and he was like, tell me all your duties at work. And like 18 things down after that list, and he looks at me and he starts laughing, and I'm like,
I'm not even halfway done with the list.
he's like, I understand you like to, he's like, but you need to give, I was like, but I do delegate some things, but some parts of my job I can't delegate.
Right.
And
That's
a lot
the
of that
hardest.
list is part of is that.
Right. Well, that's why it's important for therapy too, because it takes the time out to acknowledge what you have going on, what's a priority, and just to hear somebody say, like, you are allowed to slow down.
Yeah.
You know, you're allowed to cry. What you're doing is too much. That's too much. You're allowed to take some of those things off your list, you know, and I was telling
and
that
not feel guilty
yeah,
about
Perry
it.
today. I said something is gonna have to change. Like these weekends are so full, and we're not
Yeah.
getting the time together. You know, like the mindful time. Yes, we spend every day together, but it's not the time.
And it's not present.
Right, exactly. And then Salem needs us, you know, and it's like, and then I'm in all summer. I feel like I was just in the office working, you
Yep.
know, and I was like, I hate that feeling. But you know, going to therapy, they tell you like, you know, you just pause, find time to prioritize what's important to you, and you just gotta do it.
It's harder than what it seems.
Yeah.
Though, like to find that time.
Easier
but
said than done, for sure. But that's something that I'm still working on as well. Just finding the time, prioritizing, not feeling guilty about it.
Yeah.
Because
Well,
I'm like,
and
I can do
realizing
it all, but I don't have to.
You can do this, but it's still gonna be there tomorrow. So just finish it tomorrow.
Mhm.
That's like one of those things that I don't know. You're like, you got to get it done.
Mhm.
It needs to be done, but it's okay. It'll
Yeah.
be there tomorrow.
Yeah.
Do what you can.
Mhm.
And then remembering to go home. And one of my issues was constantly having to be on my phone
Mhm.
because work,
Yeah.
everyone's constantly
Right.
calling me. And then I'm there with my kids, but am I actually present with
Right.
my kids? Which I don't know if you noticed the past like 2 weeks, I haven't been quick to respond because
Yeah.
one of the things was he was like, put the phone down
Yeah.
and try to be
I
more
need
present.
to do that too.
And
Yeah.
it's hard, and I still glance, and he goes, that's fine.
Mhm.
Just be more, and that's really one of the things that
Right.
I'm trying to focus
Yeah.
on, and
It's
whatever I'm
hard.
doing, be present in it.
Yeah, I find that with like helping with the social media, which now I have helped with the social media for, you know, VRC, so that's been really helpful. But Salem is like, you're always on your phone. What she doesn't realize is like I'm working, you know what
Yeah,
I mean?
they
Like I'm
don't-
not
they
just
don't
like
understand
doom
why. Yeah.
scrolling is what she
Mhm.
calls it, or
Yeah.
brain rot. You know,
Yeah.
it's like I'm actually like posting.
Yeah,
or
no,
looking
there's
at
a
this.
reason why, yeah.
But I do.
There still has to be a cutoff.
Yes,
though.
exactly. And it's like just because there's time in the day doesn't mean that it has to be filled with work. And I feel
Yeah.
guilt when I'm just like
'Cause we're
relaxing.
workhorses.
Yeah, right. And it feels good because
Right.
we're good at it. But like
That's
I wanna
another
be good
thing.
at
That's what he.
Mhm.
It feels good because I may not be good at this or this, but I'm
Yes.
so good at my
Yep.
job.
Yep, that's exactly how I feel. And but it's like, well, nobody's like the rewards aren't there.
No,
you know what
I'm
I
a
mean?
good mom too. I need
Yes.
to remember that.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
right. And so you need to put your energy
Yeah.
into that as well. So,
Yep.
well, I'm glad therapy's working for you.
Yeah, no, I definitely would say, like, I told Kanani this too. I was like, you should just give it a try. Like, if
Mhm.
you have thought about it and you're wondering if it's for you, as someone who never, ever thought, like, therapy was taboo growing up. Like, none of my family members ever went to therapy.
Mhm.
Anytime you talk to
Oh,
yourself,
mine
don't
either.
go sit on a couch and
Yeah.
whine about your feelings.
Katie, we're Italian.
Yes, like,
We
but
don't tell our secrets.
it is so for me, actually.
Yeah.
It is so not intimidating. It's not, you can literally sit there and not say anything.
Mhm.
And you don't have to worry about, oh, what am I going to go in there and say? Because the conversation is led in such a way that is literally their job to
Mhm.
get things out of you,
Right.
to spark the conversation. Like, I never know what I'm going in there to talk about.
Mhm.
And then we ended up talking about for an hour
Right.
of things that I truly needed to talk about, and I didn't even
I know.
it's just crazy. So I don't know. I guess like this whole thing is just our way of, if you're ever on the fence, or you just give it a try.
right.
No
going
harm.
to
And if you
therapy-
don't like it, it really isn't for everyone. And if
Right.
you don't like it, don't go again.
Yeah.
But give it a try.
Right. Yeah, and I feel like
It
people
can
think that it's
really
like
make you feel so much better.
that you're weak, or something like that.
That
and
was my thing.
yeah,
I
to,
don't
like-
need to go. I'm strong enough
Yeah,
on my own. I do
right.
this every day on my own.
Right.
That's also a survival tactic, and
Yes.
you don't always have to be in
Right.
survival
And
mode.
that's kind of like tying back in like the feral. We said like for us like feral for some people is out in the wild, and I'm crazy,
yes.
I'm chaotic, I don't have my shit together, and it's like for us it's both. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like sometimes we do and sometimes we don't,
Yeah.
and it's okay to be both. Like it's okay to be strong-willed and be a badass and be a
Yeah.
good boss and a leader,
Mhm.
but sometimes it's okay to like sit on the couch and
Well,
cry.
you
and-
can't be a good leader, and you can't be badass, and you can't be strong without knowing how to deal with all of your emotions and
Exactly.
taking care of yourself first.
Right. Yeah. So I think
Because
it's just,
actually, that's another, like, if you just keep being strong and keep burying it like I was, then that actually makes me weaker.
yeah.
Because then it comes to the moment where I explode.
Yeah.
Or I
Take it
can't
out on
handle
others
that
and-
last straw. But
Yeah.
if I was strongly going into this on how to process these things, that makes me way stronger.
Right. Yeah.
That makes me more of a badass because I can take all of it
Right.
now.
I
And
agree.
I'm not going to explode.
Yeah, and that in itself is a new survival tactic
Yes.
that I think that people are realizing that in this day and age, survival isn't about like grasping at straws and waiting for the, it's taking the initiative yourself, and saying like, I'm going to beat it to the punch, like I already see that I'm struggling, and just admitting that you're struggling, I think is
Well,
strength.
and not always having to depend on, I had such a bad day, I'm gonna go home and like let loose on my husband, or I'm so upset how the day went, I'm just gonna explode on my kids, or my best friend, I'm constantly just complaining to her. You have a place where they're paid to listen to you. Go unload it.
Right.
And don't have to unload it on the people that you care about, because it's gonna come out wrong.
Yeah, and then you get those tools,
And then you just get it off your chest.
Right, and then you don't actually, like now, sometimes whenever I am scheduled to see my therapist, I'm like, I actually don't really have anything, like, what's going on in your life, because like I've been able to, you learn to process things quicker with the tools that you have, and you're processing them quicker with the right responses, and then
so there's not as much overload.
There's not as much, you're not carrying as much around with you, so you're like, oh, that happened,
to that point.
Boom. It is so nice, and even with,
freeing.
it is freeing, and my therapist is like, sometimes I'm processing it too quickly, because it's like, now I'm just like ready, I already know what you're gonna say, so it's like, boom, we moved on, I had the feeling, and she's like, well, really feel it. I'm like, okay, I'm really feeling it, but at first I didn't want to feel it at all,
That's
what I mean?
where I'm at.
Yeah, and so
I'm still stuck in that.
sit in it, and that's okay to do that, and then when you have the tools, you learn to process it, and you okay, that's the feeling that I'm having, and now we can move on. So,
and I think I don't feel feelings because I actually feel things very deeply. So by choosing not to feel them, I can like skip over all of that.
Yeah, but it's not skipping.
No, it's not. It's just
it's in there.
It's
so like processing out, that's one thing too I wanted to talk about, and we can talk about more in another podcast, is that through my therapy I did this EMDR training, which is like a rapid eye movement technique. And so she's literally, it retrains the brain, the pathways or whatever, and she's doing this, and your eyes are moving, and so we'll go over it a lot more later, but what it is like your memories, your feelings, all the stuff. For me, I've looked at it as like a filing cabinet, and it's all in disarray, right? When you first, before you start
like a
processing,
shit show up there right now.
and so I visualize it as like all these files scattered out in a filing cabinet or out in a desk or whatever, and you're constantly like picking them up, but you're not putting them back in order. You can't actually like burn the filing cabinet. These are things that are in there.
Well, we suppress things, but it's still in there.
Right. So it's what the
takes
EMDR
triggers
training does. You pick up a file and you process it and you read it, and so you whatever this file is might be trauma, or it's something, a memory that you've had. So you pick it up and you talk about it. And while you're talking about it, she's asking you questions, and she's doing this eye thing, and you're just watching the movements, and for some reason it
files it away.
Files it away.
It's because you processed it.
Yes, you processed it, and then
so it's
memory
it's like
of
no
it,
longer in limbo.
Yes, and the memory of it, you use this technique where instead of like, I'm not good enough is the feeling that the file gave me,
it's
you
supposed to like
change
heal you
it.
in a way.
Yeah, you change it to like, this is what happened, but I am good enough, kind of situation.
I get what you're saying,
and then when you file it, that's what's left.
Yeah, I would. Yeah.
Oh,
we should
it is.
definitely
It's
talk
for
about
people with major trauma, but like I don't necessarily feel like I'm a 10 on the trauma scale or anything, but there were some files in there that were nice to pick up and refile in an organized fashion.
Well, I think when it comes to the trauma scale, I think it's not a competition on if you went through this or that. I think everyone, if you feel that there were things that happened in your childhood that still affect you, that's trauma, no matter how bad or
whatever
what it was.
Yes.
Yeah, it's still trauma to you individually.
And I do think that there is a sense in this day and age of like, my trauma's more than your trauma.
Oh, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I feel like it's definitely a competition.
Like,
when
how
it comes
dare
to
you
those
be
things.
upset?
But
when
that
I
doesn't
did
matter.
X,
Trauma
Y,
is
and Z.
trauma.
Yeah. Oh, hello. We're not done. We're actually wrapping up.
Okay.
Where are you going? Where are you gonna go?
Oh, do you want us to wait?
Give us like 10 minutes, do you think?
Yeah,
Brad?
we'll wrap it up.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
We need to wrap it up anyways.
Yeah.
All right.
10 minutes or less, okay?
Okay.
We're just talking about therapy, so I don't want it to be like
Okay.
a
Yeah.
thing. probably texted me 15 times. Oh, sorry. We're gonna come inside a second. Okay. But yes, I agree. I feel like there's a sense of like my trauma is bigger than your trauma.
Yeah.
You know.
But I think in this day and age, that's with everything.
Mhm.
It's everything has been made into a competition
Yeah.
in some way, and it's.
And
So
you're not
it's-
allowed to feel like this because
Yeah,
I
and
went
you're-
through so much more.
And then if say if someone tries to relate, then it's just like, oh, you're just talking about yourself. You're not listening. No, but relating with someone that's something I've always done.
Mhm.
If you like come to me and something's upset, like I will hear you, but I will also like give you
an
my
example.
Yes, and
Me
like
too.
relate to you. And people get so offended. I'm like, that's just how I process
Right.
your feel. Like I'm just trying. That's how I show you that I
I
understand.
care because
and I
I've been
care.
there. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I
I
think
read that once, and people are
People
like,
really
weird
don't
about
like
that.
it.
They really, and I'm like, so you just want me to sit there?
Yeah, I'm like, but that's how, I'm also sometimes too, this probably goes back to being numb. Sometimes I don't know exactly what to say. Here's the thing, nothing that I say, if you're in a moment of like grief or something, nothing I say is
Mhm.
actually going to make it
Right.
better.
Right.
But by telling you I'm here, I support you, like I also, I think I know what you're going through because this is
Mhm.
something that I've gone through. I feel like that helps me when people say that to me. So I
Right,
just
me
thought that
too.
was like
Yeah.
a thing.
But it's
But then
not to
later in
some
life, when I
people.
was an adult and found out that people actually don't like it, so then I started just, I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
But I feel like
And that
that's
feels
so
gross.
ew. Like,
yeah, like, so you don't want to talk about it?
yeah, like, so it's like, and then or just saying like, hey, like I'm here if you want to talk
Right.
more about it.
Yeah.
It's totally up to you.
Then I feel like, well.
But
so
then
it's
people
over?
in that moment don't want to talk. Like, I
Yeah.
need you to force me to talk.
Right.
So, I don't know. I think everyone's
just know
different,
that
but
that's
I
not
am
for
one of
me.
those people.
Okay, yes,
Okay.
me too. So when you say something,
Like,
I'm
I
gonna
like
also,
the relating.
Yes,
Yeah, me too. Okay, good.
That's
We're in
good.
the Me Too movement. Just kidding.
This is us and our Me Too movement.
But it's for a different reason.
Totally different.
Anyways,
you know.
okay, circling back.
Circle back around. Everyone
therapy's good.
Everybody find a local therapist.
Yes, go try it. It's actually really amazing. As like from a non-believer to definitely a
Yeah.
believer. So I'm really excited. I think we're definitely going to touch on this
Yeah.
subject a lot
Mhm.
because it's something that we're both actively doing and being involved in, and like it really is teaching us a lot of things. We also have like matching shoes on today, so that's cool.
We're cute.
But anyways, so yeah, I think that wraps it up, and we'll touch back on some other things.
Yeah, I think each week you're in therapy, you're gonna learn more and more, and then we're gonna
I'm
be
really
able to share
excited.
that with other
Maybe
people.
I actually did have one of my friends told me it was like a couple days ago. They said that it was my trainer, Hannah, my personal trainer at the gym. She's big on therapy, and
Mhm.
she knew I kind of told her when I started.
Yeah.
And every time we go, she's like, "How's therapy this week?" And she's so like there for like my physical body, but
Mhm.
like she's very like great for my mental health. Like I
Yes,
love her.
it's so
She's only
nice.
like 23 or 24
Yeah.
too. She's like such young, but she's so
Mhm.
wise for her age. And she's like, I don't remember where I was going with this actually. Where was I going with this? Oh, she told me that she's like, when you've been, the past 2 weeks you came here, you felt lighter.
Yes, because you were in therapy.
Yeah, she's like, you seem happier and like lighter, and she's like, I don't know how to explain it. And I was
Mhm.
like, I feel lighter.
Well,
Weirdly,
you're
in
more
a
in
way.
control.
But the
of
fact that
your-
people can already
Yeah.
see and feel
Mhm.
that,
Yeah.
it's like, that makes me really happy. So maybe I was like this like broke down person that I just didn't
I never
realize
got you
I
as
was.
broke down, but hard.
But
Maybe a little hard.
Well, that's what
Yeah.
I was like. I think I create this tough exterior to
Yeah.
protect myself,
Right.
and maybe it's okay if I like soften up a little bit.
Right.
I'm not gonna become too soft. Like
No, I think I
So,
did become a little too
crack
soft,
you,
and we've
but
talked about
it's fine.
this. But
Yeah,
I think
you-
it's going to be balance, and I think
Yeah.
that that's what this podcast is going to be about. It's going to be about the balance of like
being hard and soft.
being hard and soft.
Maybe not those words.
Maybe we probably won't use
Strong and weak.
strong and
maybe?
weak. No, I don't like weak
No,
either.
no.
But just the perfect happy medium
Yeah.
right there in the middle. You know.
Knowing what situation and how to be in that situation. I don't
Right.
have to be the tough guy in every situation.
Right.
Or
And I like
don't
the-
have to have that
I like the idea of like
portray.
redefining the word feral for people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that comes to our conclusion.
I
with-
think feral is just like being so uniquely you
right.
in whatever aspect that means for
Yeah.
you.
And using your survival tools in a different way, like in a positive way, and not in like in terms of chaos.
Yeah.
You know? So on that